Since emotional intelligence is not an innate ability, it's a learned set of skills and behaviors. It's been helpful for me personally as I've tried to use intelligence, I guess, to get ahead. I've been able to identify those parts of emotional intelligence or those skill sets in emotional intelligence that I have found particularly helpful. And the ones that I have found particularly helpful are tracking my own emotions and the behaviors that come from those emotions and the situations which elicit some emotional response. And then using that data as a way to modify my own behavior in ways that I think better fit the situation or in ways that will help solve problems, engender and support creativity, and help others around me feel their own worth and energy so that we can all bring more to the table in any given organization that I found myself in. I've often found myself in situations where I've been the leader and have found people around me. I have a strong bias that says that the people around me who are working with me are the greatest strength, are the greatest source of my strength. Often what I need to do is help them realize their own capability and their own capacity to do problem solving, to think through actions, and to arrive at solutions that will work well for all of us. So I have coached my colleagues, and in some cases, when I've been doing some management consulting, I've coached my customers in some of the skills that I have found helpful in emotional intelligence. Particularly, I have found it helpful, or my colleagues and customers in some cases have found it helpful as they've learned to do the following. Identify an event that had great meaning for them. Identify first their feeling about that event. Second, their thought about that event. Third, what they did. And fourth, what they would do next time. I have helped people go through that process, and it is a learned skill. When applied with rigor, will be helpful in recognizing one's own response to emotional events and situations, and then allow one to make some choices about what they do and what they will do next time, and and be self-reflective before they act. And I have found that, and I've been told by those folks who have taken this learning to heart and have learned how to do it, have learned this skill set, that it's been extraordinarily helpful to them. If I can't be presumptuous enough to offer any general piece of advice for any managers who are out there looking at this, if you are a new manager or if you are a manager who's essentially come from sort of the production side of the operation, and now you're in the managerial and leadership side of the operation, I would like you to think about a couple of things. The first one's fairly obvious. Managers manage resources. And the most valuable resource for any manager is his or herself. So the question is, how do you best manage your most valuable resource? And I would suggest that you manage it by self-reflection. You develop the emotional intelligence skills of self-reflection to know where you are and what you are, and to be aware of what you're doing at all times, and to be able to stand back and look at yourself and see how what you're doing affects those around you, because they are the rest of your important resource, which are the people that work with you. I would urge managers to be open always for new ideas and new creative approaches. I would suggest one way to be open to new ideas is the way that you greet them, the way that you think about them. It's very easy to have a new idea presented to you and to immediately go to, oh, that's a good idea or that's a bad idea. Yes, it'll work, and no, it won't work. That's pretty easy. A more disciplined way might be something like paraphrasing the suggested idea so that whoever has suggested it knows that you understand what the idea is, and that the two of you then are talking about the same thing. And then take it to the next step, which might be a little more challenging. And that is to say, to frame that idea in how-to language, or to frame your response to the idea in how-to language. Let's say that someone has brought you an idea and you find you can say something positive about it, and it may not be any more than, gee, Frank, that idea really hits at where we want to go. But I'm concerned about how to approach the big boss with it. How to state it in a way that won't be offensive to our colleagues in other departments. So you see, when you accept an idea and you show something that's positive about it, pardon me, and what may be positive may be no more than the fact that the person brought it to you, but there may be some other things that you find positive about that idea. And then frame it as frame your concern as a how-to statement, which calls for more action, which calls for a deeper look. That will have the effect, I think, of saying to your colleagues or perhaps your subordinates that you do value what they bring, and that there's no such thing as a bad idea. There are only ideas that need development.